Hey everybody, welcome back to the Producer's Perspective Live. My name is Ken Davenport. Tonight I'm sitting down with Broadway star Mandy Gonzalez. You know her from Hamilton, In the Heights, Aida, Wicked. If you're a Mandy fan, and I don't mean the Barry Manilow song, give us some likes and hearts and share this stream with your friends because tonight we're raising money for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Mary, let's get started.
We're getting the band back together, getting the boys who rock to rock again. We're getting the band back together, rocking the face of a place that remembers when some punks from the suburbs lit the sky with too much reverb. We're getting the band back together.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the live stream. How was your week? How's everybody? Do I see everybody? Mary, I can't see the chat. What's happening? What did you do? You broke it. You broke it. Welcome back, everybody. We're thrilled that you're back with us tonight. We have a very special guest. Welcome to all of you. Oh, there's some people on the chat. There's some. Hello, Kim Ashton. Good evening to you. Welcome to all of you watching on the replay as well. Hope you all are enjoying all of these. Just a reminder, speaking of replays, if you missed last week's episode with Asmaret, please go into the archives. It was an incredible episode, enlightening, entertaining, educational, all those things. And look at all those pictures right there that you see, all those little thumbnails. Those are all the people we've had on the damn show. This, in other words, this thing has been going on for a very long time. A very long time. Yeah, it's like when this started, I was wearing like hats and gloves, and I don't mean just because of COVID, it was really cold outside. Now I'm like sweating because it's very hot here in New York City. But listen, a blessing is that you're all here. We get to do this. We have fabulous guests like tonight's guest, Mandy Gonzalez, Hamilton, In the Heights, all those shows. What she doesn't know is that I saw her years ago in a very small off-Broadway musical called Eli's Coming. And her backstage, her eyes just went. And I literally remember watching her and I literally was like, who is that? That person is going to be a star. And guess what? She is. Look at that. And we've got her for you guys tonight. So I'm thrilled that she is here. She's also the leader of the Fearless Squad. She's going to tell us all about that. You know, we've all had a lot of tough things to battle this year, but Mandy has been battling a little bit extra. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. We're going to talk about that with her. But she's doing amazing things. She's raising money for charity, which she's doing a series right now. We're going to talk all about that. Very, very busy. But before we bring her on, first of all, I have to say thank you, Wayne, for the dashing look because I'm still trying out the hair, right? It's getting longer now. So I don't know. I think I can get a haircut now in New York City. I think we're actually allowed. We entered phase 2 today or yesterday. I think I can get allowed, but I think I'm going to keep it. Anyway, some news. What's happening besides my awkwardly growing and graying hair? The Ultra Boys reunion we have rescheduled now officially for July 9th. July 9th, 8 o'clock. So special episode that week on Thursday the 9th. It's must-see live stream. We've got the creators. We've got the original cast. We have some surprise guests as well. If any of you are Ultraholics, you must tune in because we got some really fun people that are going to show up for that. These reunions have been a lot of fun. We've done a couple of them. We have a Daddy Longlegs reunion. We have a Godspell reunion in the archives. Go check them out. They're a lot of fun. I did a blog post last week that's generating a little bit of buzz and a bit of a heated debate about social distancing because I wrote a blog about why social distancing will not work in the theater. I just don't believe it's the same thing. I don't know what you think about that, but I just think it won't work, and I wrote about it, and some people agreed with me. Some people did not agree with me. Those are the fun ones. Anyway, what else is happening? The Hamilton trailer dropped this week, and I literally, it's an incredible sign of marketing. I tweeted this, that Hamilton 30-second trailer, it dropped, and I listened to the recording, the cast recording, like 4 times today on repeat. It just took 30 seconds of a little clip to get me to contribute more to Lin-Manuel Miranda's coffers by streaming some more in there. So that's big news coming up July 3rd, Disney Plus. I have it because I have a daughter. I'm going to watch that thing even if she's in bed. Okay, enough of me rambling on. Let's bring on our guest. Please welcome to the live stream. I'm so excited to see her, Mandy Gonzalez. Welcome, Mandy.
Hi!
Hi.
Hi, Ken.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to see your face and to be here with your whole audience. So
Well, it's a real pleasure. This is, again, one of the strange little blessings about the bizarre world we live in right now is we haven't met in person. Like maybe in passing or somewhere.
I feel like in passing on social media. Yeah. So I feel like we know each other and we know all of our friends know each other. Yeah. So it's we're connected. We're in the Broadway world.
Yeah, I got we passed some Instagram messages, I think, like several months ago. I love her. I did see you in Eli's Coming. You're amazing. I mean, that is a true story. I was like, this woman is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so crazy because we actually, during this time, I guess in April, we got together with everybody at the Vineyard Theater, and most of the cast got together. It was me, Anina Nani Rose, and Judy Kuhn, and Diane Paulus, and we all just got to talk about that show. So it was my introduction to New York, and it was a fabulous way to be introduced.
Yeah, it was an incredible debutante ball for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking, we have a lot to talk about, and I want to hear a little bit about your origin story. Tell me the first time that you knew performing was what you wanted to do. That spark, that moment you were like, I'm going to do that.
Right. Well, Ken, I would say that it started for me when I was very young. Both of my parents played a lot of music in the house. I always thought that Elvis was kind of a relative because Elvis was on the record player all the time, and the Beatles, and both of my parents worked all the time. So on weekends, we got to stay with my grandma, and my grandma loved show tunes. So she used to sing show tunes to me, and I was the only grandchild that sang along, and she was like, huh. And I sang along really loud. And so she told my mom, she said, Robin, we've got to get her into lessons. And there was a place down the street. I'm from California. So there was a place down the street in Tarzana called the Showboat Dinner Theater. And a dinner theater, if you don't know, is where you eat dinner and watch a show. And at this dinner theater, they had a buffet, and they had all-you-can-eat pickles. And I love pickles. So it was a great place. Also, my brother loved pickles. So, he was cool to go along with us. And we watched, I think we watched everything, but we saw Man of La Mancha there. And the woman that played Aldonza became my first singing teacher, because my grandma went up to her afterwards and said, my granddaughter sings, like, do something, help me. And so every weekend, my Bubby would come and pick me up, and she would bring donuts, and she would take me to my singing lessons. And that started when I was about 7 years old. And it really, the lessons were fabulous, but it was really those drives with my grandmother that made me fall in love with music and musical theater, and I fell in love with like this torch, like belters, Ethel Merman, Edie Gourmet, Judy Garland, it was Tammy Terrell. It was like everybody that I absolutely loved. And and so that's how my love of theater began, through my grandma.
And the first time you were on stage?
The first time I was on stage was probably at that dinner theater.
I will work for pickles. Just pickles.
I definitely wasn't paid, but we did Fiddler on the Roof, and I played Belka.
Okay. So
that was my first taste of the stage, and and I feel very lucky because both of my parents and my grandma, nobody was in show business, so nobody knew what to do. they just knew that I had a love of singing, and they just wanted to find anywhere for me to sing. So I wasn't, I never thought that I was too good for, you know. If anything came up, if anybody wanted me to sing, it was like, okay. And my dad would get the singing machine, and we would go sing at family functions, Venice Beach, malls, you know, shopping centers, anywhere.
Never any pressure like, Mandy, you should really be a doctor. You should really be a lawyer.
No, I think my family knew, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then when I was 15, I auditioned for this this like theater camp called Broadway Theater Project in Florida, run by Anne Ranking. And I received a full scholarship. And it was my first time really away from my parents, away from home for 2 weeks. And my teachers were like Gregory Hines, Treat Williams, Jeff Calhoun. And then everybody there was like the best in their communities, you know? And so when I went there and I came back, that's when I knew that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And how do I get there? And, you know, what do I need to do? Who do I need to work with? And all those kind of things. So when I was 15 is when it became like really serious. Like, this is what I'm
15.
Yeah. When I was 15. Yeah.
You couldn't drive a car, but
I went to Cal Arts for a year. And during that time, I was still doing, you know, I was in a band. I was in a band called Any Old Charlie, and we would play all the different clubs in Hollywood. And our big thing was we would wear our pajamas on stage, and that was like our gimmick. So I did that. I was like, maybe I'll be a singer in a band. And then I also did my own show at the Roosevelt Hotel at the Cinegrill. And my band, you know, my musical director for that, he is one of the musical directors for Bette Midler. And so she was having an open call for new Harlettes. And so I was in my first year of college, and I went to the open call, and I got the job. And that's really what took me and started me on my journey to New York. Because after that job, I saved my money that I made, and I moved to Brooklyn. And I started to audition, you know. But we stayed in New York for like 2 weeks, and we stayed at the Plaza Hotel when it was still a hotel. And I knew that that's where I wanted to be. And so, you know, I went.
How intimidating and even scary was it for you coming to New York and going to your first audition and seeing, I'm sure, a line of how many other actresses going up for the same part? Like,
Yeah.
Were you scared? Were you nervous? What was it like?
I was just excited. I'm sure I was nervous, you know, with my fearless squad. I always say we feel the fear. Fearless doesn't mean you don't have fear. We feel the fear and we keep going. I think that's been my motto throughout life. So even though I might be nervous, waiting in a room with 300 people for 3 hours, I feel like it's exciting that maybe there's a chance that that somebody will pick me, and they did, and that's how I got my job for Eli's Coming at the Vineyard Theater, was through an open call. And you just never know. That's the thing about New York. You never know what's going to happen next that could possibly change your life, and that's what I love about it.
Can you tell me a little bit about In the Heights and how that started for you and that experience?
Sure. Well, what show did I think I had just done Aida with Toni Braxton and Will Chase. And my agent at the time called me and said, there's a new musical, and it's written by Latinos, and it's going to be starring Latinos, and they want to know if you can go and sing for them in the basement of the drama bookshop. I figured it's something that fits. And
we're doing a big Disney musical from
exactly, like I told you, I was always about, you know, hey, if people want to hear me sing, I'll go. And so I went and I met Tommy Kail and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Alex Lacamoire, who I had known before because I had done the first workshop of Wicked, the first act. I was in the ensemble. And so I knew Alex from that. And we sang some songs, and then they were like, do you want to do it? I said, yeah. And
Just like
so,
that.
yeah, there we are. And so then I went to, we did the reading. We had our first rehearsal, and we were all sitting around the table. I was sitting next to Andrea Burns, and I remember Lynn saying, now, I know you guys don't know any of the songs, so I'll just sing them all for you, and we'll go through the script. And then he started, and it was like, lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day, and it was electric. You know, Lynn. It was like nothing. He was like nothing, nobody I'd ever seen before. And the talent in that room was just like, you know, amazing. And so I just knew that I wanted to be part of it. So after that first reading, I went and I did Lennon on Broadway, which was fun and short-lived. And then they called and they said, do you want to come and audition for the workshop for In the Heights? We're going to go to workshop. And I said, yeah, all right. And so I went and I auditioned. And I remember at the audition, I saw Karen Olivo, Olga Meredith I had to read with for that audition. And it was the first audition that I went into where they had percussion, you know, in the audition. And I sang, what did I sing? I sang the part of When You're Home. When I was younger, I'd imagine what would happen. I sang that whole part and to percussion. I mean, it was just like I was just living my life. And then
thank you for getting Hamilton out of my head, and now In the Heights is in my head. I'll be streaming that later on tonight, like 4 or 5 times. So
right. Well, it's interesting how many people, because they're so moved by Hamilton and it's changed their life in so many ways. How many people have now gone and started listening to In the Heights and other work that that team has done, and contact me, and they're like, oh, now I love In the Heights. Even my daughter, she's like, now I love In the Heights, you know. So it's really funny. It's really wonderful, and I can't wait for the movie to come out so that a whole new generation of people can see that.
We may just see a revival of that in a few years. It's
I know. Hey, I'll be there. Maybe I'll be Camila.
So tell me, you mentioned it. Tell me a little bit about the Fearless Squad and the development of that, and why, and the origin of that, and what it really means. Because I just love the concept.
You know, Ken, I started the Fearless Squad about 3 years ago, and I started it because, you know, when you first start on Broadway or as a performer, people write you letters. When I first started, you remember those? Like, people write you letters, you write them back. It takes
I was a company manager. They used to write company managers letters all the time.
You used to get letters, and it would take time. But now everything is so immediate. People can send you messages right away, and I noticed a lot of people sending me direct messages and really sending me messages that were sometimes hard to read because they were so vulnerable, and they were messages about feeling alone and feeling like they didn't have a place to belong. And I always felt that I was very lucky because I always had a squad behind me. My parents, my family have always been my squad. And so I thought, instead of just reading these messages, I had to do something. And if people felt like they needed a place to belong and feel supported, I wanted them to know that they could count on me. And so I created the Fearless Squad, and I put out hashtag Fearless Squad, and I put it out into the world. And so many people started to connect to that, and then in turn started to create their own communities around them on social media. And it really promotes positivity and hope and strength. And anybody can be a member, Ken, so you can also be a member. You just have to follow the squad rules.
Oh, tell us what the rules are. It's like Mean Girls.
So the squad rules are: I held your hand in mine, and together we change the world. And held is we help each other when we fall. E, we embrace differences. L, we look for the good. And D, we dream big, and together we're fearless. And it really has now gone all over the world and reached thousands of people. And so I'm very proud of it. And I never realized creating this squad that one day I would actually be the one that needed it the most.
Yeah.
You know, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I think it's 8 months ago now. Isn't that crazy? Time flies. I really didn't know, Ken, how I was going to get through it. But then I looked onto my computer and I saw my squad and I said, right, my squad. This is how I'm going to get through it, by reaching out and by being honest the way that they had been honest to me. And they have lifted me up on days when I felt like, you know, I couldn't go on, and they helped me and gave me so much confidence to continue to perform as Angelica on Broadway 8 shows a week during chemotherapy, which I tell you is not easy, but it helped, it fueled me, and it gave me, and my company at Hamilton and everybody surrounding that show has been so just incredible to me, and I miss them so much. But I did it, and I think it's because I allowed myself to be vulnerable and to see vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a strength. And I hope my story inspires others, possibly at the beginning of this journey or in the middle of any journey that they're going through, to know that they can do it, especially right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is inspiring to many, many people, myself and so many people in our industry and so far beyond. What did you, I mean, I can't even imagine you performing 8 times a week during all of this.
Yes.
Why didn't you just take a break? Like, what I mean, it must have crossed your mind. I mean, people must have said, Mandy, just take a little break and just.
Absolutely. I think for me, it was very important that I didn't let having cancer define me, that I was going to let it be a part of me, but it wasn't going to have all of me if I could manage it. And singing for me is my biggest outlet. You know, I feel that it's a gift that I've been given, and it's the way that I connect with people and connect with myself. So it's a healing part of me, you know, and to sing is, it's like light, you know, I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to think about what doctor appointment I have to go to, what audition I have to go to. It's just a moment where I can be free. So that's why.
Those are words that spoken from someone who's doing exactly what they were put on this earth to do. Like you just know that's what you were made to do.
Yeah.
And I'm a little speechless by just the thought of you going through this and then having to get up there 8 times a week. And then in the midst of all this, Corona hits. Can you tell me where, I've asked a bunch of my guests this, where were you when the virus hit the fan, so to speak? What were you doing?
You know, I've always been an overachiever. So I feel like if you're going to have cancer, why not have it during a global pandemic? Like, you know, just make it easier for yourself.
Yeah.
But I was at I guess I was at a doctor's appointment when it started to change. You know, I was doing chemotherapy, and all of a sudden, you know, the nurses were wearing masks. No longer could I have a guest with me to, you know, hold my hand or to be there with me. I had to do it alone. And that's when I noticed it started to change. And then, you know, it was very fast. You know, we talked about it at the theater. Our producers were very upfront with how they felt about it and keeping us safe. And then I think it was another week and we were closed. You know, everything is still there. It's so weird because, and I want to get back in because I have like none of my makeup, not to be vain, but you know, it's like my good stuff. My makeup, I have clothes there, but everything was just kind of left.
It's so funny you say that. so many people who've been on the live stream have said the same thing, that I literally emailed a reporter at the New York Times and said, you have got to send a photographer in to all these Broadway theaters, because stuff is just like lying there. Like Mandy Gonzalez's makeup brush as she left it is just sitting there just waiting for her.
I think the only person that's still there is Jimmy, who runs the door, who's been there forever, who was there in the Heights and there for Hamilton. And we call him Jimmy Onions. And during the Heights, we called him Jimmy Cebollas. So I hope he's staying safe. And I think about him all the time. So I know he's still there working the door.
He's probably still doing like calls.
Absolutely.
Mandy Gonzalez, you have a delivery downstairs.
Absolutely. That's the heart of the theater.
And you, of course, are you're just sitting back during this whole pandemic, doing nothing, resting and recuperating. Tell me about the series that you've been doing and all the good work you've been doing.
It was an interesting time that the JCC reached out to me because it was a time when right after I finished chemo, and they asked me if I wanted to do this series called Broadway's Best for Breast Cancer. And the JCC, which I didn't know, offers a free cancer care program that anybody can take. And you can go and take classes there. They have dance classes. They have pottery classes, painting, just to kind of get your mind off of what's going on. And because of COVID, they're not able to offer those classes live. So they wanted to create something that people could watch online. And so we started it. And because it's Broadway, it has music, and some of my closest friends who have been so supportive of me throughout my journey with breast cancer. But, I tell you, Ken, I'm learning as much as I'm giving, I think, in this series, because we have incredible experts that come and talk to everybody about different things involving cancer care, whether it's how you tell your story, whether it's nutrition. We have the incredible Dr. Allison Estabrook, who comes on the show and answers questions. I mean, it's for somebody that's just going through at the beginning of the journey with any kind of cancer. Anybody's welcome, and their families. They can feel really alone, and right now, not being able to get treatment possibly at the right time, or feeling a little bit like this person hasn't called me back, and what do I do? You can ask us those kind of questions and feel like you can be heard. So it really has been such a beautiful show. Krista Rodriguez was our first guest on the show. And that was so important because Krista is also a cancer survivor. And to hear her story was just beautiful. And she was the first person that I reached out to when I was first diagnosed, and has been by my side ever since. And now we sing together. We're the Broadway Breasties. And
because you did In the Heights together.
Yes, we did In the Heights together, and I just think she's wonderful. So, last night, 2 shows ago, we had James Monroe Iglehart from Hamilton, from Aladdin. We had Telly Leong. This week, we're having Javier Munoz, and Brian Stokes Mitchell will be on the show with his wife, Allison Tucker. I can't believe it's our last show this next week. It's gone by so fast, but my co-host, Carolyn Colas, is so wonderful. And I tell you, Ken, you should join, because you learn a lot, you hear great music, and, I've learned all these meditation tricks and things to kind of, ease your mind, whatever you're going through, and it really helps.
I just love this. There's obviously this theme in your life of you just being like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Grandma,
started, it's all because of my Bubby. It's like, like she started from an age where you're like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And I think that for me, helping others has really been such a healing aspect of my journey. And so I hope to continue to do that as I keep going in this world.
There are a lot of people struggling out there right now with lots of thing with all the issues that are facing us in the world. And you've been through so much this past year, yet look at that smile on your face still. And I just think that people should scroll back if you joined us late and watch just your opening like appearance on this live stream. Your hands up in the air, you're just joyous. Any tips on how to keep that joy in your life every day like you do, that light that you talk about?
Well, you know, I think for me, I find a lot of gratitude in the present moment and everyday things. Talking to you is a wonderful thing. Getting to be with my daughter every morning, you know, school just ended, so I'm happy about that. I don't know if you guys are still in school or what's going on, but I'm happy that school is over, homeschool, and you know, I'm happy for the little things. And at night, sometimes I keep a grateful journal. And I know maybe it sounds hokey, I don't know, but it really works for me so that I don't fear the unknown, because right now everything is a question mark. And so it really allows me to kind of center in on my present, where I'm at right now, and just kind of go, oh, well, this was good today. And this was good today. Because all of a sudden you look and you're like, wow, it was a good day, you know? So that's
I start my day with that. And just since we're sharing and being vulnerable about routines and things like that, that some people might call hokey, and I certainly do not. I've started doing, I'll give you, everyone out there this little tip. I downloaded on Audible, and I have a free like positive affirmations.
oh,
And
cool.
I put it on my phone and I go to sleep to it now. So I just have like someone speaking into my ear, like things are going to be great. Things are awesome.
Ooh, I'll have to get that. I'll have to get the one from you. That sounds great.
It's been helpful. Drew asks a question here that I'm going to modify a little bit. He's asking for your personal favorite song to sing. I'm going to modify and say, if you only could sing one song for the rest of your life, one song, you had to pick one. This was it. Like every audition, you had to sing this one song. Every time you performed it, what would that song be?
Oh my goodness. I would probably say Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because that's a song that is from my childhood and that I love so much. And like every good song, the meaning gets deeper and it changes as you go along in life. But that's definitely a top song. And then Breathe. I would sing forever. And that's another song that has changed so much. You know, starting as Nina Rosario, my hair just went like, but starting as Nina Rosario and being so young and wanting to please my parents and do better for my community, that still rings true for me. But now it's so much more of a looking back kind of song as well, like that you can get through anything. And so I would sing that too.
Is there a recording of you doing Somewhere Over the Rainbow somewhere on the interwebs?
There's not, you know, I just sang it the other day for the JCC because it's a song that I listened to throughout my treatment. And it gave me so much hope. So that's a song I just love. Oh, that made me feel like so happy. See, that's another thing. I'm like, ooh, thinking of that song makes me so grateful.
Well, we are grateful for you, and we are all pulling for you throughout this. And we thank you so much for your joy, your vulnerability, your inspiration, everything you do. Please make sure you check out Mandy's final show on the 29th, right? 29th?
Yes, 29th.
I'm going to join the Fearless Squad. Everyone else should join the Fearless Squad as well. You are truly the embodiment of fearlessness. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Oh, thank you, Ken. Thank you so much. It was a blast.
Bye-bye. Bye. And that is another episode of I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Just a reminder that if you enjoyed Mandy's like to know and we start the inspiration of people to do the area of the Research Foundation. We have a link there to go to go into the chat. We got a Facebook page where we got a Facebook page. If you have another Facebook page, and SoundCloud in the SoundCloud, hello, if it's not, Is it back? It's back, says Mary. It's back. Sorry about that, everybody. I wish I could say that was like some cool robotic Star Wars effect, but it was not. It was just a poor internet connection. We all have them. Pandemic. Anyway, what I was saying is, oh, I'd be a cool voiceover robot. Okay, that's good. Yeah, a white-haired voiceover robot. Thanks, Justin. As I was saying, do a little favor if you can, donate to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Don't forget about the Altar Boys reunion on July 9th. We are now weekly here at the Producer's Perspective Live, weekly, so you can catch up on all the other streams and all the other content going on, including Mandy Gonzalez's event on the 29th of June. Next week, we have another Hamilton-connected guest, Paul Taswell, costume designer for Hamilton, MJ, Ain't Too Proud, whole bunch of shows. He's going to talk about his process, what he's been doing. And look who also is coming up. Look at this group. We got Paul, we got casting director Tara Rubin, Stephen Pasquale, another big Broadway star, Danny Burstein. Danny's got an incredible COVID story as well. Look at all these folks coming up. What a lineup Mary has lined up for all of you. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is a great group of people. I'm very thankful to all of them for being here. Thanks to you for being here. We're going to go out as we always do with something to make you smile. Here is, oh man, just be prepared for smiles and tears and all the feels. Alex Newell, who starred in my production of Once in This Island, the AIDS Walk New York at Home was postponed, and he recorded with Mark Shaman accompanying him, I Know Where I've Been, as a message of hope. Go check this out, theproducersperspective.com/smile. This is one you're gonna listen to several times. It's going to get Hamilton out of your head. You're gonna just repeat, repeat, repeat. Enjoy it. I hope it makes you smile. Listen to some affirmations on your way to sleep tonight, or just listen to Alex Newell over and over and over again. Thanks so much for listening, watching, and doing all the things. We'll see you next week on the Producer's Perspective Live. Bye-bye, guys.
We're getting the band back together.